All right. So, our first review and only review of the day is going to be for the Disney Plus series Agatha All Along. Agatha All Along is a spin-off series of the show WandaVision there, following the character of Agatha Harkness here, who's played by Catherine Hahn. If people remember from the WandaVision series, Agatha Harkness was kind of presented as the villain of that WandaVision series there. She kind of infiltrated Westview there to steal Wanda's powers there that ended up turning pretty bad on her, and Wanda flipped the script on her and then trapped her in Westview. And you see that at the beginning of this series, where you see Catherine Hahn is still trapped in this kind of fake reality. She thinks she's living out life as
Ma-
a
Mayor of Town type of situation.
Mayor of Easttown. They do kind of like that type of parody of show, like a True Detective cop show like that, that she's kind of stuck in until Aubrey Plaza's character comes in and kind of snaps her out of it and reminds her of who she is. Once that happens, she sets off on a journey there to regain her magical abilities there, which is following the witch's road there with a fellow of other witches there, witches who have specialties and other various witchcraft there. For instance, you have Zahir Zameda, who plays Jennifer Kale, who she's the potions expert there. You have people like also
Patty
Paul
Lapone as
Pally.
the divination, which she, does card readings and tarot stuff and crystal stuff. So,
Yes,
yeah.
that as well there. So yeah, you have the different members of the coven there, and all these women have a history with Agatha. I mean, Agatha's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, so they all have basically a history with her, and not a very good history. And you see that a lot of these women have to work together to accomplish of getting through the witch's road and getting to the end there. And they all have their own particular reason why they want to take this journey here. For instance, like with Zahir Zameda, she wants to also she doesn't have powers, and she kind of wants to get her magic back as well. And she thinks this is what will accomplish it. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to you. I've already done a mid-season review. People can check that out. I did it with Chris from the Black Stuff podcast, who unfortunately he couldn't be here today. I wanted him to also join in this conversation since he joined me for the mid-season review. But he couldn't join me for that. But we did do a mid-season review that's also on YouTube right now. And yeah, doing it, I was like, okay, this is pretty good and it's solid, and see where it kind of ends up with this. But Christina, what are your thoughts on Agatha All Along?
Well, I was excited when I first heard about it. I had a feeling that nosy neighbor Agnes was Agatha Harkness because the name sounded way too familiar. And then when that song dropped, written by my friends Bobby and Kristen Lopez, who did the music for Frozen as well, and a bunch of other Avenue Q, the Broadway show about mature puppets or whatever. Um, as soon as I heard that song, I was like, this character is going to get her own spin-off show based because of how the song goes. And I was right. Because they didn't think no one's like, that's stupid that if she gets a spin-off because of how popular the song was. No, she did. She did. And I was excited. We were waiting and waiting. And they had different like titles to like, but it ended up being Agatha All Along as the title of the show. I was really excited when I found out that Pat Lapone was going to be in Aubrey Plaza, who I love, was in it. I was like, oh, she's good. I'm like, we kept thinking she was going to play Morgan Le Fay at first. But then when we found out she was this real Vidal, I'm like, she's this character called River of Life. But they kept dropping hints. Even the first episode, they dropped a hint about her being Death. Spoiler alert. So I knew, I'm like, oh, she's playing Death. And then the Funko Pops got leaked. So I was like, confirmation. I love that this show had practical effects, did not really depend on CGI. The sets were beautiful. The costumes were phenomenal. The chemistry between these characters was great, especially considering that Pat Lapone and Aubrey Plaza lived together while filming the show. And I'm kind of glad that Shasir Zamena found something outside of SNL, because I feel like she was not given enough material to use when she was a player on that on SNL.
Mm-hmm.
And we all knew that Joe Locke was going to be Billy. Like, we knew he was going to be Wiccan. Like, I'm like, and everyone's like, how is this possible? He's supposed to be Jewish. I'm like, guys, the Billy Kaplan, Billy Maximoff story is very easy to explain, and they're probably going to explain it in the following episode when he shows the crown and all that stuff. So there was just a lot of like stupid, things people were saying. And then at the beginning, a lot of guys were suggesting that who's this show for? No one's watching this show, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's watching the Penguin, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, if Daredevil came out now, you can make the comparison between Daredevil and the Penguin because they're more gritty crime dramas. You can't compare a witchy show for the gays, the girls, and the theys to the Penguin. But now it's like the highest rated show next to Loki. Mm-hmm. So that's, that goes to show. And plus, more and more people end up watching it because it just kept getting better and better every week. I do wish the episodes were a little bit longer and that they were more like an hour long instead of like 30 minutes plus like 30 minutes of credits. But the great reveal of Death was like, I cannot wait for that cosplay to come out because now I want to do that at Comic-Con.
That is very good. Yeah, a lot of the costumes look really good. I'm show a picture of Aubrey Plaza, who did play Death, who came in and out of the series at various moments there with it. So this is really good makeup, and this was all practical right here.
Yeah,
they did no CGI. So you see that.
Yeah,
which really, really good there.
Yeah, and also too, Aubrey Plaza has played two of the most powerful characters in Marvel. She played the Shadow King, technically, in the first season of Legion. He's one of the most powerful mutants in the X-Men. And now she's playing Death in Marvel. And she said that, like, her career had led up to this moment. Like, she feels like this is going to be a definitive, like, role for her. Something that she's going to be playing more and more of. And I cannot wait. Like, that's I'm excited for. I'm so excited for her because I'm like, yes, we get, Aubrey Plaza in Marvel. Like, And also too, like a lot of people were not happy that Catherine Hahn was playing Agatha because she's so young, and I'm like, we're gonna need her for a few years. We're gonna need her maybe, but how the show ends with her being a ghost in the comics, she does become a spirit, an aging spirit who originally was supposed to be Wanda's teacher. Like a lot of people don't realize that she's good and bad, more nuanced in the comics, but they made it more like that in the show, obviously, because by the end she's going to help Billy find Tommy, because that was why he went down the witch's road, was to find his brother. Because if Billy took William Kaplan's body, where's Tommy at? And so it's just also funny to me how he's like, Wanda's not my mother, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, slow down there, kid. Like, she would not like to hear you say that.
So it was one of the reveals in the show was that who played by Joe Locke here was Billy Maximoff there. He's known at the beginning of the series as Teen, which I think they feel like they already kind of announced that during the press run of it. I feel like they did, where they said that he was Wiccan or something like that.
Well, they asked him if he was, and he did a really crappy job of saying no. But even with this, that sigil or whatever, like, you could see the like him moving his mouth like he was saying Billy, and I'm like, oh, I can see him moving his mouth like he's trying to say Billy Maximoff.
And if people know the comics, Billy Maximoff, his superhero identity is Wiccan, and then eventually he even becomes the Sorcerer Supreme there. So they're setting that up maybe potentially for that, because obviously Benedict Cumberbatch maybe doesn't want to play Doctor Strange forever there. So and so they kind of also rounding out more of the cast for the Young Avengers, if they want to do a Young Avengers, if they want to make that a possibility. How did you feel about Joe Locke as Billy Maximoff?
I thought he was great. Like, I like, a lot of people were like, oh, they recasted, Billy from Doctor Strange and WandaVision. I'm like, guys. Again, the comics. Billy Kaplan, Billy Maximoff, know the history there. But I thought he did pretty good, and the big reveal that he made up the Witch's Road, that he's powerful. Like, the fact that he made it all up in his head. I'm like, wait, so it was fake the entire time. It was fake. He made it in his head. That's how powerful he is. I mean, he was able to release Agatha from Wanda's spell. So it's like, maybe he didn't need Rogue for power, but he just wanted to, find his brother. which I think is very sweet.
Mm, yeah. So that was kind of one of the big things. So this had 9 episodes there, and
Should have had
viewership.
one more.
And those credits are pretty because it's like 8 minutes of credits. There
Yeah.
it's like a 30-minute episode, but
Well,
really
because
eight.
they gotta credit everyone who built those practical sets, probably.
Yeah, and then when you see and the credits are actually pretty nice. They play some good music there at the credits, and then they'll show like also
Like
which.
witches of history and
Yeah, you'll see
yeah.
that in various film and television. Like there's even one that has like The Craft. They brought, that actress
Yeah.
there. You see her. So yeah, that was also a nice little touch there that you have. I do
Yeah.
wish maybe the episodes were maybe a tad bit longer than maybe 45 minutes, maybe 40 minutes instead of being like 30.
And then
Um,
some of them were like about almost an hour long, like the last 2 episodes. I'm like, oh my god, like yay! Why can't every episode be like this? I did like the fact that they mentioned Mephisto, and I'm like, oh, we finally get the M name.
which people have been waiting for. They wanted that in WandaVision. They
Yeah,
get it here finally with that. I think was Zahir Zameda said it, right? Jennifer Kale, I think she said it.
yeah, yeah. Like
Mephisto.
she
So
kept like saying, oh, maybe you're Nicholas Scratch, but another thing too is that she's literally her son's name is Nicholas Scratch because Rio is her father. Like she's literally said that he was made from scratch. Like no man got her pregnant. They were, I don't know how it happened, but I think that's why Rio wanted to, kill him initially because he's not supposed to be alive. He's not supposed to be a being that exists because of how he was made.
mm, okay. So
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting there. And do you think if you had to say a scene stealer, would you say Aubrey Plaza is Rio slash Death? Pretty much was that for the show?
Yeah, all those little psychotic like facial expressions and stuff, especially when they're in the recording studio. The second, when she comes, when they summon her as the new Green Witch, R.I.P. Mrs. Sharon Davis, uh, and she's like whoo, and then she's like all like she has some of the best one-liners in the show. Like with every test, she says something like who better communicate with the dead with someone who took so many lives, and I'm like whoa. Like she's just great. Like people always think she's April Ludgate, but I'm like, no, guys, she's done a lot more since Parks and Rec. Like it's been almost 10 years since Parks and Rec ended. And she's been busy. I mean, I think my favorite performance of hers is Emily the Criminal, where she plays someone's just drowning in student loan debt and just commits crimes to, pay for hire.
Yeah, she's had a great career after Parks and Rec there. Yeah, I think she's kind of moved on from being just April Ludgate. Like she was even in Megalopolis. She was in that.
Yeah.
I know that not a lot of
Wow,
people saw that.
platinum.
I know not a lot of people saw that. And she was also in My Old Ass, which came out this year as well. She was in that.
Yeah, and she was in the White Lotus. She was in Black Bear, which Matthew Film Guy edited. I'm like, do you have Aubrey's number on speed dial, sir?
Yeah. So yeah, it's always a pleasure to see her in different projects there. Hopefully Jenna Ortega, who people saying is the new version of Aubrey Plaza, maybe also breaks out and does some other roles there. I feel like she's kind of pigeonholed and typecast right now.
Gothic stuff right now, which I'm fine with that because if that's where she's comfortable with, like doing like gothic, like horror related stuff, that's cool. I do hope they play mother and daughter soon in something about like whatever, because that would be cool.
I think maybe that'll be in the works. Them pitching together as something. They did that thing together at the award show where they
Yeah,
announced something together, which was cute. That was
they were like, I don't know why they put us together, and she's like, we have nothing in common.
fun.
I'm like, yeah.
And then you
How
see,
how about the fact that the Witches Road was just a con? Because when I was watching the last episode about the story of how Agatha and Nicholas were singing down the windy road, I'm like, wait, that sounds like the Witches Road, and then you hear them say the Witches Road, and I'm like, oh wait, the Witches Road comes from that and not from like anyone else, or like Alice's mother did not write the song originally. Like it was so like what, and then learning that she used it as a power grab to lure other witches to get them heated to blast her with their magic, because she was known as the witch killer.
yeah. That's the big kind of reveal towards the later of the season is that the Riches Road, like you said, there was a con.
Yeah,
There, the conception of it was Agatha Harkness a lie there, or actually a children's story there, first children's song there that she sung to her son.
yeah,
And then she noticed like this witch who came up to her and heard the song, and then was like, what is the Riches Road and what is it about there? And that's how she started the whole thing for
yeah.
centuries, tricking there, and you see throughout the centuries there.
And that's why I rewatched it all in one setting again, because if you listen to the first scene where she's still like Detective Agnes, she's like she's humming the Witch's Road song, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then as they do each test, she just makes stuff up on the flat, like what this means, what this is about. You can just summon a new Green Witch and one dies, or blah 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 blah. Oh, the ballot change. The road changes for the Coven. Blah 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 blah. Like she was just making stuff up the entire time. That's why it was fun rewatching it all in one setting, because then you pay attention to those things.
Yeah, she was just absolute con artist, just bullshitting the whole time there.
Yep.
And Catherine Hahn, it's good to see Catherine Hahn in this. I mean, my initial kind of reaction is like, well, I'm not really don't know if I really want to see or care about a spinoff show with WandaVision with Agatha, even though I like Catherine Hahn, but a lot of that interests me because I was like, the times I've seen Catherine Hahn, she's mostly just been a supporting character in comedies, and I
Yeah,
was always thought she was really funny.
my favorite one she did was in We're the Millers, where she played like that, like good old Midwestern happy wife, almost like a Sharon Davis type, and she's like one to like touch Jennifer Aniston's boob. She's like, because she thinks that they're gonna do like a foursome or something. Like she was just so funny. And then of course playing, on Parks and Rec as like that campaign manager. That was for Bobby Newport, which was also pretty funny. Oh yeah, that scene was funny because that was a fake baby. That was just like cocaine, I think. And then Nick Offerman playing, the husband was funny.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that was a really good.
We even watch your little one so you and your man can have some grown-up snuggles.
You don't have to do that. No, no, no.
Oh,
You do
nonsense.
don't
I
do it.
am
I
so
don't want
good
you to
at
have
baby.
to- No, no, no.
Nonsense. Oh, give us
You're
Yeah. I mean, that movie's a decent comedy, but it works for a lot of people that come into it and kind of make it what it is. Yeah.
I'm ready for a sequel, man. Like what have they been up to all these years? Scamming, conning, people and whatever.
And I loved her in also The Goods, Live Hard, Sell Hard. I really loved her in that too. I thought
Yeah,
she was
she's also known for being like bad moms. Like she's kind of known for playing like in the beginning she was known for playing like wholesome, sweet best friends, but as she got older, she's known for playing like no nonsense, like raunchy characters that are very sardonic in a way. So I'm like, okay, they found something else for her to do.
So this is the first time I've ever seen her be the lead of something. So I was kind of happy for her there. And I didn't even know
Yeah.
she, with WandaVision, she could also sing as well. I didn't know she had that.
Yeah, she did all that through Zoom.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive that she did
Yeah,
that.
I've been having the ballad stuck in my head, the ballad of the Witch's Road stuck in my head. Because again, Bobby, Kristen Lopez, shout out to those phenomenal songwriters and musicians. They also wrote the ballad of the Witch's Road, for the show, as well as Agatha All Along. Like,
and I know
yeah.
some people I know because they sing in the very first episode, and then for some reason people were like, "Oh my god, they're singing," and it's just like the Acolyte or some, or they just like another Disney show. There, people just initially compared it to. But I did like the songs in here. I think the songs did really well in here.
Yeah.
I did like it. Let me play a little bit of it because I think let me play a little bit of kind of what they do here. Because they sing the song multiple times in the series there.
Yeah, and kind of different versions too, because Alice's mother, who's a singer, she did like her own version. That's why it says there's different versions, like Sacred Trent version. There's different versions of the song available for people to, listen to.
You think this version is the best? Or you want to play the Alice mom?
This is the best version because it's the Coven singing it.
Am I supposed to know this song?
They're so good. I got that cosplay.
Of her right here.
Yeah. I just gotta figure out how to put the hair up in the wig.
Yeah.
Down the road, down the witch's road.
Yeah.
Gotta find a Coven at Comic-Con.
Yeah. And how do you like the Coven? How do you like the various actresses there?
Oh, I love them. I mean, I knew who all of them were. So like, so I found because I mean, a lot of people were mad at Shazier Zamina was playing Jennifer. They're like, oh my god, but she's white, and I'm like, oh my god, guys, like, who cares about the race of if like if it's Alice Wu, then like yeah, like you have to keep her Asian, but like Jennifer Gale is I I know she's like white in the comics, but like again, you can play with with white characters. You can play it up a little bit. You could do something different.
And this is Jennifer Kale from the comics right here.
Yeah,
I don't know
Bland.
this character from the comics. I don't know this character.
Yeah, she's the cousin of like some other like really important character. Apparently, I just forgot who at the moment.
Yeah. So you got that. Yeah. So a lot of the characters, I think a lot of the characters are based on characters from the comics there.
Yeah.
Ali An is playing Alice there. She's playing Alice
Yeah.
in this. Is her character also from the comics?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently her character is also from the comics there. I do like what they do with the cast there. I do think they do bounce off each other pretty well. Like you said, Aubrey Plaza and Patty LuPone, they actually lived together, so that was actually something there as well.
Yeah,
So,
she almost Aubrey almost killed her. So
but it's also sad because they kind of get picked off one by one, as you see on this kind of road there, and there's all these various challenges that they face.
Yeah.
Are you disappointed in that? Would you want to see them come back, or you think that was kind of good that it
I mean,
added stakes to the story there?
Yeah, they in the end they got what they wanted. The curse out, the family curse, the Alice it was lifted. She was able to protect someone, even though it cost her life. But that's the point of being a protection witch, though, is that you give or take, you might not live protecting another witch. And of course, it was fitting for Lilia to go out the way she did, with finally like learning her powers and like being able to probably maybe restart her life. And of course, Jennifer was able to break free because Agatha was the one who bounded her. So she had to, do like an unbounding thing. So
yeah.
So also too, congratulates Catherine on showing ass in a Disney show.
Yeah, that's the first time that's ever happened. By the way, so first for her.
Yeah, a lot of people were mad about it. Like men were mad about it. I'm like, come on.
Any weak spots for you with the show that you?
I just that the episode should have been longer.
Just longer there.
I do hope that we're definitely gonna get a spinoff, like a Wiccan show, or even like a movie maybe with him and Agatha, like trying to find Tommy, because that's what you can't. That's definitely a cliffhanger.
So yeah, it probably will be a season 2. You think it has enough strong viewership for season 2?
Maybe. I mean, the way the nominations are looking up, it looks like it could get a season 2. I do feel like it should just be a Loki thing, like season 1. That season 2 they find Tommy and that's it. Because if everyone got what they wanted even Agatha, she got her powers back, but then she was like, okay, let me just die, and we got a good, awesome kiss, the first lesbian kiss in Marvel, like, woohoo. And he didn't get what he wanted at the end of the road. He didn't get to be with his brother. So I'm thinking, Billy's the only one who doesn't have what he wants. So season 2 should be all about finding Tommy then. And then it will be completed.
So yeah, I mean, they do leave off on the cliffhanger of him and Agatha, Ghost Agatha there, who looks more like the Agatha from the comics. They're the gray hair. So you have that who
looks a little older, yeah.
Who's going to set off and then find his brother Tommy, who people know in the comics is Speed there in the comics. So again, planning a Young Avengers thing, planning the stage for a lot of those characters to come in there, come into it. So the viewership is strong enough there. They look back at it. seems like it did pretty well as far as viewership goes there. It
Yeah,
says with episode 9, this is conclude the show's run with gathered 3.9 million viewers there. And the first episode started off strong as well. The first episode had 9.6 million
yeah.
viewership as well with that one. So if they look at that and go like, okay, yeah, we want to continue this. I don't know how much this show costs to make because you had shows like Secret Invasion. They said like it's $200 million.
Well, believe it or not, Agatha, it did not cost a whole lot to make it because they depended on practical effects and not CGI.
Okay, so it
So
wasn't.
it was actually probably one of the cheapest Marvel projects ever made.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now. So this is the article I'm looking at. It says Agatha All Along breaks a troubling trend for the MCU here. So this
Yeah,
had a budget of 40 million, which is one of the lowest of any of the Disney Plus series there.
yeah. That's
Uh,
unheard of in these days with Marvel projects.
so I mean, maybe they'll take a lesson from that and then kind of apply that to a lot of them. Because yeah, it didn't make any sense for shows like Secret
Secret.
Invasion. They have $200+ million budget. Like that.
Especially when that CGI sucked.
Yeah, that was really I don't understand where that's kinda
I just think it's funny when it's always that Marvel meme like, oh, we're so back, oh, it's over, we're so, and they include the Marvels and Agatha, but not I'm like, listen. The Marvels had a bunch of disadvantages. The Marvels is actually a really good movie in my opinion. Just too many men were telling people not to see it. Okay, like it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It should not have gotten the shit thrown at it. Agatha All Along ended up not being a Marvel failure, like, oh my god, it's over type of situation. Like we gotta update that Marvel meme of like, oh, we're so back. Oh, it's over. We are so back. It's over.
So I mean, this was a surprise. I mean, I think this was one of those cases where not a lot of people didn't know really what to expect or what to look forward to this.
Hmm.
Maybe low expectations there with this, as far as like I said, it being a spinoff of another show. It's like who cares about the Agatha Harkness character? But I think in that it kind of shined where it could be a little bit more doing its own thing, have such a lower budget, kind of get a little bit more weirder, kind of in the horror aspects there of things, like what they
Yeah,
kind of did with Werewolf by Night, which I love
yeah,
that. I want them to go in. I think that's an interesting direction. I want to see them go more in.
yeah,
Um, and so I think that this show does that. Each episode it builds upon the next one. It just doesn't feel like it feels like a TV what a TV show's supposed to do instead of a lot of these Disney Plus series feeling
yeah,
like an 8-hour movie. You know what I mean?
yeah. And another thing too is that like with the like budget and all, like it's interesting that hopefully people realize that they can do it. And like, and another thing about like people didn't know what to expect. I'm like, Jack, the woman who created Agatha, also created WandaVision, and a lot of people loved WandaVision. That the first like Marvel Disney Plus series, it came on strong. It came on pretty strong. A lot of people enjoyed it. They loved how it pictures the sitcoms. She finally just kind of sort of becomes a Scarlet Witch in the end. We see her slowly but surely getting corrupted by the Darkhold, which I'm one of those people who defends multiverse of madness because I'm like, we literally see her getting corrupted by the Darkhold at the end of the movie. I mean, at the end of WandaVision. So, like, she ain't gonna be good
Mhm.
whatever the next time we see her, you know?
Yeah. And so this is the woman, Jack Schaefer, there, who is the creator there of WandaVision. She also went on to create, of course, Agatha All Along there.
Mm-hmm. So
Um,
I trusted her. I'm like, if she sticks to these projects, like all these WandaVision spinoffs, like there's supposed to be like a White Vision show, which I'm gonna assume that Vision is going to learn how to feel and think for himself, like because that thing is like a military, like a
a weapon.
just yeah, like in a blank space, like blank slate, like so. I'm looking forward to like that as well, how they're gonna do that, and I'm looking forward to if they do a Scarlet Witch movie, Jack Schaefer should also be in charge of that.
Yeah. She's worked with Marvel before this, even before doing WandaVision, because she also was behind the story of Black Widow, and she's
Yep.
also an uncredited writer on Captain Marvel there, so she's got a little bit of history there with that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, with that, and she did direct some episodes of Agatha All Along. She directed 3 episodes there and wrote 2 of the episodes for the series as well.
Yeah.
Um, this also they promised like this was the gayest show in Marvel history. There, do you think it delivered on that, or do you think it kind of
Oh
did
yeah.
mostly like what Disney does of having a gay character and kind of running away from it, and then they can cut
Oh,
it
it was
out?
gay. I mean, they made it obvious that Billy was gay. Awesome, cool. Nothing wrong with that. And of course, they made it obvious that Agatha kept dropping hints about her sexuality and the fact that Death was basically stalking her. And I noticed like the little things, the little touches between her, like between Catherine and Aubrey, like when they were switching like doing the broomstick ritual. I remember watching like Aubrey like brush her hand against Catherine's, who just moved her hand away. You just had to really pay attention to those subtle details. And then of course, as the episodes progressed, it just got gayer and gayer and gayer. And she's like, "Why don't you want me?" At the end, it was so good.
Mm.
I'm like, "I want you, Aubrey Plaza. I want you.
Yeah, I
I'm
think the
good."
show. I mean, it did better a lot of what of Disney representation does when it comes to LGBTQ people there, because a lot of times they say like they've been saying that for like there's always that meme of like the article coming out of going like Disney announcing we have our first openly gay character in our project ever, and then the character's only in like one or two scenes, and then it's
Yeah.
something you can easily cut out when they market it overseas. Here, I think that there's much more of a forefront on that on this, and I don't think they run away from it like they do with other Disney projects. So at least if you're gonna say it, actually do it. And
Mhm.
I think it lives up to that. I think it lives up to kind of what they said it was gonna do. The relationship between Aubrey Plaza and Catherine Hahn, who bounce off each other really well.
Mhm.
Obviously, they worked on Parks and Recs together, so they got that
Yeah.
experience together. And then also with, Billy Maximoff, and then his boyfriend as well is also in this. Not
Mhm.
too much time spent there, only just like in one flashback episode, but you also got that. But anytime
Yeah.
it was ever Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza on screen together, it was always really great and always a lot of fun.
Yeah. And of course, we cannot talk about Evan Peters. It's Ralph Boner.
Who does make a return again, yeah.
I was like,
Uh,
"What happened to you?" But like he kept mentioning Ralph, like Agnes kept mentioning Ralph, 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 and then once it revealed his name was Ralph Boner, I'm like, "Oh, that's who Ralph was." I mean, they should have made him like a multiverse Pietro, because I mean, again, but that was right after Disney bought Fox, so that's probably why they couldn't do that, because they still had like a lot of like loose ends to tie up, it seems. But like, I don't know. I just felt like since we're dealing with the multiverse still, um, that would have been a good opportunity to do that.
Yeah, you see that in one episode. He does make a return there to explain kind of the history to Billy and kind of what happened and why he kind of, after the accident. So the soul of the child Billy Maximoff that we saw in WandaVision gets transferred to this teenager there that we see played by
Yeah.
Joan Locke. So that's why you see him now. That's why he is. If people, ask that question with the series, it's like, well, how did we saw them both die basically at the end of WandaVision? How did they both come back? And then kinda that's how they did. They jumped into the souls. I mean,
Yeah.
their souls jumped into other people's bodies.
Well, to explain what Doctor Strange said, Wanda, you made your children out of magic. That's what every mother does.
Yeah. So,
True. So Doctor Strange is probably thinking, "Oh my God, Wanda's kids are alive."
what implication do you think that this series a good job that it does is kind of it it stands mostly on its own there, or do
Mhm.
you think that, you need to see kind of the other stuff too to get it? And they think it seems like it doesn't waste a lot of time also with a lot of what Disney Plus series do, is that
Yeah.
it does a bunch of setting up and for other stuff there
Yeah.
that it takes away from it. Yeah.
Yeah. All you have to do is just watch WandaVision. That's all. You just gotta watch WandaVision. And you don't even have to watch Multiverse of Madness to understand. Like, I feel like within this realm, they're probably gonna maybe bring more like Marvel witches, on sorcerers and stuff like that. Like, as long as they keep within like that Doctor Strange verse, it should be fine. I just hate the fact that Doctor Strange movies take like they get like one every decade. So it's like, come on, hurry up, because I would like to see where they go from here with Agatha, because I'm kind of sad that she's already a ghost.
Because isn't her role in the comics is that she's like the Fantastic Four, like the kid's babysitter, right?
She
Or
yeah, she has she she's done so many different things. Like again, like she had her own like school where she taught like Wanda magic. There was a time where she got killed off and then she became evil. Then of course she became a ghost, which is what we see now. Like there's like she's done a lot of different things. It's like, a lot of people are like, I did not know who she was. I'm like, you probably didn't pay attention when you're reading the comics because she's almost everywhere.
Mhm.
Just little by little though.
Um, yeah, and this was her very first appearance here.
Like
Yeah,
she was young at one point, and she got. That's why a lot of people are like, I like her when she looked old. I'm like, but she also looked young. Like there was a time where she was young, but then, you know, it's just
yeah,
so many different, versions of her.
yeah.
Like, look, young.
This is her, yeah, young again right here. Yeah, so it's, I mean, just like much with comics, there's always different versions of characters,
Yeah,
them changing and
different storylines.
rebooting the universe, all that stuff like that. Um, any final thoughts in rating for Agatha All Along?
Oh, I give this like 11 out of like 10 broomsticks.
Huh. Wow, I mean, you loved it that much? Huh? Wow.
Oh, I loved it. Like this was exactly what I want. Like it had everything that I love: gayness, singing, witches, some horror elements, Aubrey Plaza. I'm sold.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, do you think this is like if you had to, think about all the Disney Plus Marvel series, is this probably top 5, top 2?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I love this. I love WandaVision. I love She-Hulk. So and I love Moon Knight too. So like that should be and I also like Miss Marvel. That was cute.
Yeah. This show surprised me. Like I said, I really wasn't expecting a whole lot from this there, but I think what it did with the cast, with the kind of good lead performance of Catherine Hahn. I think it worked and it was fun there, and I think that it does well at being it's kind of embracing the witchcraft nature of it, getting into really the mythology of witches, and that I think that was very good for the series. Um, I like that the, implications of it kind of further where you kind of want to see these characters go. I think it does a good job at that. And it's a show that has stakes. It has kind of casualties in this, which is also another thing with this series, which I also like there. Seeing kind of a lot of the coven get picked off one by one there. Poor Mrs. Hart, she didn't, she just got dragged along there for this.
Yeah.
And now I mean, she had a husband too, so the guy's
But
probably just.
he died too, so
Oh, yeah, he die in WandaVision or did he die in.
yeah, I think he did.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, poor her, she just got dragged along to it.
Yeah.
Um, the weak parts of the series, I will say some of the stuff, maybe with Joe Locke as Billy, I didn't like all that much there. I think, yeah, the episodes could have been longer at the start of it, I think that would have helped a little bit more, but it actually did feel like a TV show and then not like a lot of these Disney Plus series that feel like kinda just 8, 9-hour movies
Yeah.
there, with that, so it did have that
Because
momentum
each
over it.
episode there was something new to do.
Yeah, and the practical effects of it also was really good with the actual look of the road and all these different setups that they had there. Them going through all these different like, working through the trauma of all the different characters there and the reasons why they entered the road and for them to conquer that. I thought that was good there, and I like that aspect of it. So for me, I would give it, I'd give it a tune in. I'd give it a little bit of a strong tune in there. I think it's one of the better Disney Plus shows that they've done,
Yeah.
there.
By a lot, considering what we've had to deal with the last like what few years, except for like Miss Marvel. And Echo was pretty good.
Yeah, Echo was solid. I like the Echo there. It's definitely better than Secret Invasion. I like it much much better than that. So yeah, I think this is up there with kind of some of the better ones there. If I had to say, obviously the best one they've done so far with Disney Plus Marvel series, probably WandaVision or Loki. Actually, Loki season 2, I really liked a lot. I thought
Yeah,
Loki season
Loki
2
was
was.
good. Loki was always like the exception.
Yeah, I really like that one quite a bit. So yeah, this one really really surprised me. So good on Agatha all along there. Being a show that kind of was like, hey, a little bit of low expectations, and it come out really surprising me, and I liked it a little bit. So if they do a season 2, I'd be there to be excited for a season 2. And shout
Yeah.
out to Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza. Really great there, especially Aubrey Plaza, who's really was scene stealer in this. Does such a great job as Death.
Yeah, you know they're probably going Best Kiss at the MTV Movie and TV Awards now.
Yeah, maybe they'll recreate the kiss there at the
Yeah, that's kind of the tradition. You gotta do it.
So yeah, that'd be interesting to see. But yeah, so 11 out of 10, which would be on our scale there from say would be a tune in. I mean, well, this is cinema.
Yeah.
That's the highest rating we can give it, and I give it a tune in there for Agatha All Along.